Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. Stay tuned until the end for a special offer. Hello dear friends, finally I have part 2 of this painting time-lapse ready for you all. Sorry for being about a month late, but this piece took way longer than I anticipated, and as usual I overestimated my own abilities. And sadly, due to YouTube's needlessly strict policies on nudity, I have to censor parts of the body, but if you'd like to see an uncensored 60-minute tutorial of this video, along with hundreds of hours of exclusive content and monthly art rewards, feel free to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/happydartist. Also, there's a pinned comment with a link to a survey that I would love your input on in order to improve future Patreon and YouTube content. Thanks in advance for your feedback. In terms of finished pieces, this currently ranks as my largest finished oil painting ever at 2 feet by 3 feet. I do have some bigger pieces that are still a work in progress, so be on the lookout for a few more largest painting ever videos from me in the near future. In part 1, I went over how to paint the figure, and I'll link that in the video description if you haven't seen it already. In part 2, I'm going to focus on painting the environment. In class, we're banned from using the word background in school and have to instead say environment, because it's not just about what is behind the subject in the background, but what's in front and around the subject as well. So instead of background, we have to think of all of the surrounding elements as background, foreground, middle ground. Therefore, we have to say environment. For this piece, I painted the figure from a live model over the course of about 2 weeks, and then I added in the environment afterwards. In order to make this process as seamless as possible, I created a small, quick study of the concept of the piece before I started painting the large figure. That way, I knew how to place and crop the figure within the environment. As you can see from this side-by-side comparison, a lot has changed from the study to the final piece, but the general composition and value hierarchy stayed fairly consistent. The title of this painting is Missing, and I came up with this name after I was already close to finishing up the piece. Like with most of my work, I don't have a super straightforward story or personal anecdote in mind when starting to conceptualize a painting. I mostly go for a certain vibe and try to keep the visual elements as open-ended as possible so that viewers can interpret the piece through their own lens. For this piece, I wanted the figure to feel like she was alone, wading through this boundless, never-ending, dark lily pond, almost like she was in a purgatory kind of vibe. And it was only through adding the faded second figure in the distance that this nebulous vibe began to coalesce into a clearer story or narrative. She is not simply existing in this cool purgatory lily pond. She has instead some sort of relationship or history with this distant figure. Perhaps it's a visual metaphor for someone she is missing, maybe a lost lover or an old friend. Or maybe she is the one missing herself and the distant figure has found her. Or maybe the figure is a manifestation of a missed opportunity in her own life, and it's simply a mirrored reflection of herself in an alternate life path. I love the multiple interpretations of the word missing and how it can apply to the multiple different interpretations of this piece. So I'm really grateful that everything kind of aligned at the same time and this word just magically popped into my head when I needed it the most. And that about wraps up today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you'd like to adopt the original painting or fine art prints, they're both available at my shop at happyd-artist.com. And of course, you guessed it, my eternal never-ending sale is still going on in my shop. So if you'd like 20% off your order of prints and originals, just enter the code HOLIDAY at happyd-artist.com. And if you're interested in learning more about how to paint and draw, I have lots of art educational content on my Patreon page, including exclusive video tutorials, step-by-step photo tutorials, live streams, podcasts, and even surprise art gift boxes. All available at patreon.com/happydartist. I'd love to have you join my Patreon family. I wanted to quickly thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video and for supporting my channel and the art community. I've actually enjoyed using Squarespace for 4 years now to build and host my online shop and website. So whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make your next move with Squarespace. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com and visit squarespace.com/happydartist for 10% off your first purchase. Also, if you want to check out more artworks, works in progress, and just random daily artist adventures, feel free to check out my Instagram and you can follow me at the handle @happydartist.